We're live at 9 o'clock. Here we are, and we got a lot of things to talk about in the past week or so, and some of those stories. We're going to cover 10 of those for you. I am Adam. As always, I'm joined with Junior. Junior, are you ready?
Let's go!
All right, guys, this is our game now. I want to thank you guys for joining us today. I know it feels like we haven't probably been around as much as we used to, but there are a lot of sports coming to an end, and we're kind of tailoring some items, some evergreen content for you guys over the next couple of weeks. So thank you for staying with us. Please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Junior, feels like it's been a while, buddy. It's good to see you.
A week?
It feels like a long time. Like it's crazy. Lots happened in this week, and we haven't really connected a whole lot. It's been a very busy time for us.
It has been.
Space Jam 2, A New Legacy came out on Friday the past.
Mm-hmm.
We want to touch on a couple things here. So quickly, there were some good reviews, some bad reviews, a little bit more on the bad side. Rotten Tomatoes has it scored at 32% on the tomato meter and 81% on the audience score. Did you get a chance to watch Space Jam 2, starring LeBron James, A New Legacy?
The title is not fitting.
Okay.
If you wanted to name it Space Jam, A New Legacy, maybe. But Space Jam 2, I mean, you're following off the footsteps of a movie that's, 20 plus years old, starring the greatest basketball player to this point in basketball. And following it up with Crybaby LeBron not being in space at all, but being trapped in a computer, a la Crypto LeBron. Did not see it, won't see it. I mean, when you've got people giving this 1.5 out of 5, 2 out of 5, usually movies that get that below 40% on Rotten Tomatoes, usually it means just stay away. There's very few movies. In fact, there are only 2 movies that I will tell you to go see that have a rating under 40% on Rotten Tomatoes. Number 1 is Kingpin. Kingpin does not have a good score on Rotten Tomatoes, but it is an amazing movie.
Woody Harrelson, Dennis Quaid.
Yep. You will laugh your hiney off from the first to the last of that movie. Also, Bill Murray is in that. Yeah. And the second one is Hudson Hawk, starring Bruce Willis.
Don't know that one. Writing it down right now.
Funny crime movie where these guys are cat burglars. It's him and Danny Aiello. It's a laugh fest.
Love Danny Aiello.
But they don't have good scores on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
But when a movie like this that's got a billion, I don't know how many hundreds of millions of dollars was spent on this movie. Sorry, there's no reason you should be under 40% on Rotten Tomatoes. So
I did get a chance to watch it. I'll say a few things about it. A quick review here. So the movie was a bit long. There is nothing to do with space in this movie. So again, Space Jam, LeBron, thank God, actually was a cartoon for a good portion of the movie, so we didn't have to see him act for as long as it could have been. But 2 hours for a movie like this is just too long.
Yeah.
There's too many twists and turns. There's a lot of pop culture references and kind of nostalgia pieces that they kind of throw back, like Matrix moments, but then they kind of keep coming back. And it kind of took away from the game of basketball. I had to kind of turn to my daughter at one point and say, like, hey, are they going to play basketball in this movie? So that was kind of my criticism of it. I'll probably go back and take another look at it at some point down the line. But I did watch Space Jam with Michael Jordan, the original, about 3 weeks ago. It doesn't hold up in terms of time. There's just been so much technology change and all that stuff. But I will say that Jordan is a much better actor. I mean, not that he was really acting. I think he's kind of just playing himself in the role that he's always played, being in the light like that. But I'll still go Space Jam 1 over Space Jam 2. Speaking of space, brings us over to Bezos. Took the flight today with Blue Origin, which is the first flight. This is a 20-year company in the making, which is pretty surprising, actually. I didn't realize that this has been around that long. And the spacecraft was called the New Shepard spacecraft. And this is on the heels of Virgin Galactic 9 days later. So what do you think about Bezos making it to space in this rocket?
Well, let's not touch on the fact that it's a very phallic symbol in terms of what it looks like.
Getting quite a bit of criticism resembling male
genitalia. I mean, does Bezos have a pissing contest with Branson going on? Like, who can get there the quickest in the weirdest spaceship possible?
Seems like
don't
a
know.
bet that would happen amongst the elite
Probably.
of the elite, but I don't know that I would put Branson at the level that Bezos is at, to be quite honest.
Well, I mean, very few people could literally pull off what this guy's pulling off. But, at the end of the day, it's cool, if we can get, commercialized space travel going and get to other planets and kind of, reach out, that'd be great. I'd still be more
4.7 billion.
Yeah, I'd still be more interested in actually exploring this planet a bit more than we have. I mean, considering that we're the amount of ocean that's covered this planet, that we haven't really gone down that far, but we've gone up really far.
Yeah.
So it kind of piques my interest to see, well, what the hell is down there? Do they know what's down there and that's why they're going up? Or, who knows?
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. There was actually a guy, so there was a story that came out of this as well. So there was a bidding war to get one of the seats on here, and the guy I think had bid up to 28 million. And then this was a non-refundable ticket, so whoever won this, was obligated to pay that amount, and decided to back out, noting a scheduling conflict, leaving $28 million on the table.
So there was something more important than going to space?
I'm thinking it was probably a chickening out situation. Ticket was non-refundable and non-transferable. This flight also hosted the youngest and the oldest person to go to space. So an 18-year-old and I believe I want to say a 63-year-old woman.
Where the hell did that 18-year-old get $28 million?
I think maybe it was
the 68-year-old covering his tab.
I think maybe it was a gifted thing, maybe to who knows. Maybe Bezos just gave it.
Yeah, it sounds like Bezos was just trying to make his flight more important than Branson's.
All right, I think this next one is going to exactly. I think this is going to be the biggest news for us, being Torontonians and loving the game of baseball, especially how our boys are playing. But the Jays are coming home. I mean, this couldn't be more exciting. I know we're like chomping at the bit to get hands on some tickets, so we'll see how that goes along.
I've been checking every day as the price continues to go up and up and up, and then all of a sudden it went weep, right back to normal.
$100 is not a bad price to get into the stadium at this point.
Listen, for a resale market, $100 is very doable. That $100 is for I think second level outfield seats, so I mean, not bad views at all. But where they were before, I was seeing 500 level for $500. Like that is just. I talked about it yesterday on the roundup. That's just like you're gouging people for the sake of gouging people. I mean, I understand we're coming out of COVID and everyone wants to get to the Jays. And just because you're a season ticket holder, you decide to just jack those prices up like crazy. You know what? If I'm the Jays, I find out who you are, and I take those season tickets away from you just for doing that and being stupid with that, because that's ridiculous.
I'm a person who likes to make money off tickets. I made quite a bit of money when the Jays went pretty deep in the playoffs, and I think it was 15.
Different story. Those are playoffs.
But this is a different time.
Yeah, but you pay a premium for the playoffs, not for the first home game.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen, you want to charge $200, $300, $400? You're still driving the price up by 300%.
Yeah,
be happy with that.
Yeah,
you got to go 7,000% over the cost of the tickets. So, you know what? Anyway,
it's a little wild, but we're excited to have them back. We're excited to have them back. I mean, the feeling that I would have being at one of these games and seeing Vladdy crack one out of that out of that ballpark.
He doesn't even need to crack one. To me, I've always said it since the beginning of this pandemic, is that when we have baseball back here in this city, that's when it's going to start feeling like we've come out on the other end.
Yeah, exactly.
Baseball is what brings everything back to a sense of normal. And I will be going.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a matter of if, it's how much.
Yeah.
How much
at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I want to touch on Bruce Lee. This is the anniversary of his death, and we just wanted to kind of, tip the hat to Bruce Lee. We're big fans. Enter the Dragon, etc. One quick notable that I had wanted to just touch on: first Asian American actor to have a lead role in a Hollywood film. Pretty great. Another thing I found really interesting when I pulled up some facts on him is he practiced 5,000 punches a day. This guy was a man who was dedicated to the art. and his craft. What did you want to say about him, Junior?
Do you know what kind of punches those were?
Like the 2-finger punches?
Nope.
What do you got?
Wall, fist. They're 1-inch punches.
Oh,
just
the 1
doing
inch.
this.
Yeah.
5,000 of them.
Yeah, I remember
Per
seeing
hand.
that in a video, and I remember seeing another video where he did like a 1-finger push-up or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, and then I also saw that he was able to puncture Coke cans with his fingers, like with just like one finger, just like pop the can right open.
Be like water. Be like water.
Yeah.
I've read the Tao of Jeet Kune Do. It is a great read. It's kind of a mash between traditionalized fighting sport and connecting the mind and the body. He for a guy that everyone thought was just bells and whistles, he was very intelligent. He stood up to a lot of racism that the Asian community is dealing with now. But I mean, back in the 60s and 70s, it was on a different level. Literally, they were making movies about them and, satirizing them. Jerry Lewis was one big guy that he played a landlord, and they tape his eyes and he would just do the voice, and it was just it was mad crazy. But he went through a lot, and unfortunately an early death for whatever reasons those were, because they were never really properly verified. But anyway, I think he made a huge impact in the short amount of time that he was here, and
still popular today.
1973 was a long time ago, but people still talk about him to this day. So it's an everlasting legacy that I don't think will go away anytime soon.
Yeah. Favorite movie?
Enter the Dragon.
Yeah, same. It's not close.
No.
Okay, the Olympics. We talked about it last week, saying that basically we thought, these guys aren't going to make any money off the Olympics. You can't have fans there. Now it's like COVID soup over there. These guys, like, outbreaks are happening in the bubble. Some with athletes, but likely a lot are happening with staff, etc. Are the Olympics going to happen? Do you think it's just too hard? It's too far along to pump the brakes at this point?
The one thing I thought that the Olympics were going to take a look at first was how Euro played out. Because as you could see with Euro, as the teams were dismissed from the tournament, COVID just blew up in their countries. Spain was at 20,000 cases a day. France, 20,000. The Netherlands was 20,000. Germany, they didn't last that long, so they were only like 800. But it just exploded. And I think that with that kind of a gathering, with the fans coming in and everything, Tokyo was like, well, you know what, let's just not have the fans there. But you're still bringing people from other countries. How accurate is your testing? And here we go. Here we go again.
And staff. Like, how do you quarantine the staff and all the people that help move the dial here? Right?
Are you going to, they're not putting them up in hotels. They're sending them back home, back into the community where the spreads are happening, and they're bringing it back into the facilities. And I just think logistically it was a nightmare. And I think the organizers should have said, you know what? We already postponed this from 2020. It might make more sense for us to postpone it until 2022 and do it properly, where we can get proper health protocols in. I mean, Sydney's on lockdown, Brisbane's on lockdown. All these cities, major cities in that area, they're all going on lockdown because it's just exploding again.
Let's face it, too. A lot of the athletes are pulling out. Right. Some athletes just don't want to go there now. They're saying, you know what, it's not worth it. I'm going to, if I end up getting COVID there and then I'm going to be quarantined, I would spend all this time for nothing. Like, what's my time worth? What's the energy worth to maybe win a medal and have to put it on yourself, because that's the protocol for putting the medal. You got to put this medal on yourself, basically. There's no contact or anything like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen them maybe pull back. I mean, there's no rush to get the Olympics done. This happens every 4 years for Summer Olympics. So what's the big deal if we just postpone it to next year?
Yeah.
Okay, let's swap over here. NBA Finals Game 6 is tonight. The Bucks are up 3-2 in that series, winning the last 3 games. What do you think, Junior? Quite a momentum shift the last little bit.
Yeah. From what I hear, there's some rumors going on out there that Giannis wore a pair of black Air Force Ones to Game 3. And since then, they haven't lost, and he hasn't changed his black Air Force One. So I'd be surprised to see what he wore walking into the stadium today.
Yep. They got a chance to win it at home. It is in Milwaukee.
They're at home. If they can close this out after dropping the first two, that's a pretty phenomenal job done by the Bucks to kind of come back and strangle this away from them. And at the same time, there's a certain referee in there tonight, and I'm not going to name him because I don't want to give him any clout. And it just happens that Chris Paul is 0-12 in playoff games when this guy is the lead official. So I think that's kind of writing on the wall. I think the Bucks are going to wrap it up tonight.
It's 6-2 right now. 7 minutes left in the first, so not a whole lot of scoring so far. There is a TikTok or a reel going around where this kid has basically predicted that the Suns would win the first two games and how they would win them, including game 3, 4, and 5. He's suggesting that the Suns are going to win game 6 and going to close it out in game 7. So let's see if that prediction comes true. It's very interesting if it does, and who knows? I know there was a tweet that had the Suns and Bucks in the final from like 8 years ago or something.
Yeah, I saw that.
You just never know what could happen. Continuing along here, I'm going to still ride the Suns. I'm still riding the Suns.
Jay Crowder has 2 rebounds. I need him to hit double-double tonight.
I think Chris Paul, hopefully he's got to come out and just own this game along with Book.
Where'd they go? Where did these guys just disappeared? I mean,
you know what? They don't have this deep playoff experience. I mean, Book doesn't have playoff experience, so
they don't.
That's what it comes down to.
Maybe Stephen A. Smith's comparison to Kobe kind of got to him.
Who knows? I mean, he's had to turn those away. There was a really, really, really terrible question at the end of Game 5. I don't know if you saw this in the presser after the game, but it was basically the guy asked Devin Booker, Devin, how frustrating is this for Chris? Chris is sitting right next to him, shaking his head, and you got a next question, please, right? So,
my goodness.
Know your audience, guys. Moving along, and kind of still in basketball a little bit, Kanye West is going to be releasing some new music in one of the commercials for the Beats by Dre tonight in Game 6. So I'm looking forward to see what that is. I know he was cooking in the studio with Tyler, the Creator, this past week, and he was also spotted with Ice Cube at the Big 3. Do you listen to Kanye West music?
No.
Okay. Did you ever listen to Kanye West music?
High School Dropout?
First couple albums? Okay.
No. High School Dropout.
First album? Okay.
Nothing after that.
So what do you think about Kanye? Let's start with Kanye's mask. What do you think about Kanye's mask right now? Because he's been rocking this for a bit now.
I don't know. I don't think I can question anything this guy does anymore because
he's just genius level.
I don't know if it's genius level. Because you know that the difference between a genius and a fool is very small.
Okay. He makes money. Whatever he's doing, he's making tons of money.
That's it. He's got these people that follow him around and kind of just buy everything that he does just because they love him and his brand. And, he could fart in a Ziploc bag and sell it for $1,000 and people are going to buy it.
I was just going to say, is Kanye the like reinvention master? Is this guy able to recreate his image like 3 times a year? I mean, is he unlimited in terms of how he can replicate and reinvent himself?
It's either that or he's just a regular dude that's like, let me see how much I can mess with these people. Watch this. I'm going to do this and they're going to go crazy. I'm going to turn a garbage bag into a jacket and let's see if they spend $400 on it. Yeah. And he's just like, he's created this persona because he just believes people are just that stupid to buy all the garbage that he's making. I mean, those foam runners, like
worst ever.
Are you kidding me? They cost like 2 cents to make, and he oh geez, I don't know. I you know what? I'm not frustrated. I don't understand it, and I can admit that I just don't understand it. Right. And it doesn't bother me because I don't understand it. I don't know.
Okay. I'm interested to see what his new music is because he's kind of coming off of like a lot of this gospel stuff that I wasn't really personally down with, just knowing Kanye's history. Even his
Yeah.
album before, which was like I hate being bipolar, or I love to hate being bipolar, or whatever it was. Even that had some interesting like melodies and stuff like that in the background. So I'm kind of curious to see what his new music's going to look like because it's like a Cracker Jack box. You really don't know what you're going to get
You don't.
inside.
Yeah, you don't.
I just hope that it's okay. And it seemed like Tyler, although it was like on mute, Tyler looked like he was really liking what Kanye had going for him. So hopefully at least at a very minimum, the production value is high. So I can at least listen to some of the beats because that's kind of what I listen to more than the lyrics anyway. So
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Tyler the Creator's music either. So I mean,
I'm not a fan of Tyler, but I'm just curious.
I
to see
think
what
he's a
Kanye
funny
was up
dude.
to.
He's a hella
He's
funny
hilarious.
dude.
He's
Yeah,
hilarious.
he's a hella funny dude. I like watching that guy do his stuff. I mean, that whole waffle thing, I was dying, like just straight dying. But outside of that, I mean, I
I'm
don't
not a
really
fan of his
listen to
music.
his
I like his creative mind and I like him as a person, but I'm not a
Yeah,
fan of his music. And I'm pretty selective in what I listen to for the most part. So not
yeah.
surprising there. Okay. Lionel Messi. Mr. Messi took a 50% pay cut. I mean, let's start off with this picture actually that we have right here. So we have this picture. It's Messi. It's the most liked picture, I think, on Instagram, is it, I guess?
The most like sports photo
On social?
on social media
Okay.
of all time.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's a pretty highly liked one as well.
Yeah, exactly. So he won the Copa America, which was the South American kind of Euro Cup or whatever you want to call it. They were able to pull that off. We were talking offline last week when we knew that he had won, and saying that this is a pretty physical tournament.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think about him winning this? And is this the piece that he needed to kind of add to his legacy that he was missing, that international, glory?
This wasn't it. The piece that's missing to him is a World Cup. It will always be a World Cup, and I don't think he is going to get that. So I don't think it tarnishes his skill set, his ability, and his impact on the game. I don't think it will tarnish it at all, whether he gets one or not. Personally, I don't think he will get one, but I don't think that takes away from the fact that he is arguably one of the greatest footballers of this generation and of today. So
he signed with Barcelona. He took a 50% reduction, still paying him around $85 million. His previous contract was $594 million over 4 years. Comes to an end at the end of June. So the speculation is that it looks like he's taking a 50% pay cut, $85 million a year for 5 years, totaling $420 million, staying with Barcelona, where he's been since he was a kid.
Yeah.
Any surprises here with him re-ing up with Barcelona when there was talks of a buyout at some point?
I mean, no surprise for me. I think that the one thing that Barca will do is they will stay true to him for what he's done for them. And I mean, obviously, still you're still paying basically the best footballer in the world $85 million a year. There's guys
making paid fourth athlete as well.
Yeah,
with that number.
So it's not like his goal production has drastically dropped. It's not like his impact in the game has drastically dropped. So it doesn't surprise me. I mean, what would have surprised me is if Barca let him go and he ended up somewhere else, whether he went to the Premier League or Serie A or wherever, Bundesliga. I mean, he could have been making 3 times that
absolutely
if he went somewhere else. So it shows that he's dedicated to that team and he wants to continue to win with them. So he's got that old school mentality when it comes to sports.
And for his legacy, you want to see him continue and retire with Barcelona, right? Just
no one does it anymore, right? Yeah. Very few people do it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Super Mario Brothers. This game, Super Mario 64, brand new in box. I think it was like a 9 out of 10 or something like that. Graded, which if you like graded stuff and you like to talk sports and collectible stuff, we have a show called Cardboard Cutouts. Check it out. Subscribe to our channel. We will be live tomorrow night, blasting some packs and talking some stuff and seeing what we get, if we got anything back from PSA in terms of grading. So check that out. But this Mario So Super Mario 64, brand new in the box, $1.56 million. Now, we talk cars all the time, but video games demanding this kind of value on is never going to be played. I mean, you can look at the box, but I mean, if you don't even have the game, I mean, what's the point?
I want to know, the dude who bought this, does he actually have the system to play the game, and is he going to open it?
There's no way. It's
Because
graded. You see how it is like this? It's graded. Like
that's a fool's game when it comes down to it. I think, considering that, with cards, there's a certain print run. There's certain limits to how many are out there, and that could also be said for held true for video games. But when there's cracks and that video game is everywhere, and you can get it on your computer, you can get it on your phone, you can get it on whatever system you've got, the value of that, I think, is gone. And to pay $1.5 million for nostalgia reasons, just so you can say you have one, go to a flea market. Go to a flea market and buy it for $1 or 50 cents or a quarter. Like $1.5 million, I think, some people have too much money, and maybe they need to be reminded of how to do something good with that instead of spending on a video game. I don't know.
Okay, here's a bit of history. So 2 months ago, Super Mario Brothers, so that's for SNES, sold for $660K. And
NES or SNES?
SNES, so Super Mario Brothers, not 64. This was Super Mario 64, so I think this is the same version, but for the newer system.
Okay.
And then The Legend of Zelda, which was it's believed to be the only copy from one of the earliest production runs, sold for $870K.
Okay. Hey.
Should we start looking at video games, Junior?
Maybe we should start, checking the garage and see if there's anything sitting in a box.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
To get graded.
I'll
stick the cards.
We'll have to look at where you would even get something graded like this, because I'm actually interested a little bit now.
I think PSA does it. To be quite honest, I think PSA. Yeah, they've got something. They'll put their tag on anything.
Okay. Tomorrow night, the Seattle Kraken, which is the newest NHL franchise, will be doing and hosting their expansion draft, where they will go around the league and, I guess, pick up and build their roster on players that have been put forward to be drafted through that expansion draft. One of the notables for me was recent runner-up goalie Carey Price waived his no trade clause or whatever it was, or no move clause, which basically in some ways makes him eligible to be drafted here. What do you think about Seattle, the team, and them getting a team, and then ultimately, how they're going to build that out? Maybe you got some ideas on what that team might look like. Just a quick reminder, Vegas, when they built their team on the expansion draft, did they not win the Stanley Cup that year?
No.
Or they went to the final? They had a deep run?
They went to the final. Yeah, they had a deep run.
All right.
I don't think that's going to happen this time. I don't think obviously, when you look at the protected lists across the entire league in terms of the teams who have left guys unprotected, there's a reason that Carey Price was left unprotected. Is because, number one, he is injured. So I'm sure they're going to get some kind of an exemption for that. But if he does get picked up by Seattle, he is from BC. So for him to be closer to home, I'm sure he'd still be happy doing that. But, in terms of the other goalies that are out there, I think there's guys that fit kind of a youth movement maybe, but still bringing some pretty good quality to that team. I don't know if I could say that these two expansion drafts are very similar to the Vegas and Seattle Kraken in terms of the talent that's available. I don't think there's as much talent right now than there was back then. Okay. I think the Golden Knights just caught lightning in a bottle. But, in terms of guys, I mean, they're going to put a team out. They're going to get the 14 forwards. They're going to get their defensemen. They're going to get their goalies. There's some decent goalies there. Defense, not a whole lot, but there are some pretty good forwards. James Van Riemsdyk, Jordan Eberle. There's guys they can build around for sure. But I'd like to see where they, who they're going to draft, and then the free agency period that starts shortly for them, where they're going to head down the line there after they've built that first kind of section of the team. But there's still a lot of work to do, and I don't know if they're going to be making a straight up run to the Stanley Cup. I think Bettman would love that, because this is another one of his dreams, to put another team back into the U.S. On the West Coast. I wish he had a little bit more of a fervor with building out Canada as well. It doesn't seem like he does. He's trying to write his own story, so that's cool. But we definitely have the ability and the appetite for hockey up here, rather than kind of forcing it into markets. The Seattle Supersonics left Seattle.
So that was going to be a question for mine, is do you think this will be a foundation to possibly expand in the NBA and have Seattle come home, either via a franchise moving to Seattle or them expanding?
The game of basketball right now is very healthy.
Very.
And I don't
abundance of talent.
I don't see them going to Seattle. I don't see them creating a new team and going to Seattle.
Okay.
They've never talked about it. He's always dodged the question when it's asked to him. And to be honest with you, the people in Seattle don't give a rat's butt. They don't care. They really, they literally do not care. And you have to remember who was their last draft pick?
KD?
Yeah. They drafted a franchise-altering player. And they still, because, the city wouldn't give them what they wanted, so they packed up and left.
And Vancouver wasn't able to hold on to their team out there. And maybe it's just not a basketball area.
It might not be. Soccer seems to be doing well there.
Yes.
Baseball does well there. I don't know if there's room. Football does really well there. I just don't know if there is enough entertainment dollar to go around to support now the NHL and then potentially even the NBA coming. But I don't think there's enough entertainment dollars there in that area of the country to support two more professional franchises, not even one more professional franchise. So we'll see where this team goes. I mean, they could go down the avenue of an Arizona Coyotes and fall apart very quickly. And, Gary's dream is dead. And I'm sure the owners will call for his head on a chopping block if this fails, because, they're about making money. And if the league has to support this team because it can't support itself, it'll look pretty bad on kind of tarnish that legacy he's been trying to build over the years.
One last thing. What do you think about the logo?
I'm not a fan of the name.
The Kraken. So the Kraken is a legendary sea monster of gigantic size and cephalopod-like appearance.
It's basically a giant squid.
Sure.
Yeah, giant squid.
I kind of like the logo. I'm not going to lie. I actually think it's pretty sharp.
Kraken.
Yeah, exactly. I actually think it was that from Pirates of the Caribbean, Davy Jones or whatever.
Yeah, Davy Jones' locker.
I kind of like that. I kind of actually think it would look pretty cool on a hat. I don't know. I kind of like it.
Yeah, a hat that would look good on a hat. I just don't know what the rest of the logo. This might be an arm patch on the jersey. In terms of the main logo, I hope they've got some other stuff.
So I guess it's like the odd and the eye, and then you kind of see like that first bend in the kind of looks like an arm with like a squid arm or something like that.
Yeah, like the tentacle, and then it's got the little pods. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay,
we shall see. We shall see.
All right. Okay, I think that's a wrap for us. I want to thank you guys for joining us today. We appreciate your time, energy, as always. We'd love to hear what you have to say below, so please feel free to like this video and then drop a comment. We'd love to have you a part of our channel. We are making the push to 100, and we need those subs as much as possible. So smash whatever button. I think it's over on Junior's side.
Yeah.
So you can sub to our channel. And look out for some really cool content coming very, very shortly. And check out our NFL stuff, because Junior, NFL's starting up, isn't it?
Yeah, we started.
Going, or what are we doing?
Yeah, we started some top 10 lists in terms of some active quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers is coming up. Then we're going to do top 10 active defenses, or top 10 defenses in the league. And then we're going to get into actually previewing each of the divisions of all of the teams. just like we did with baseball.
Nice.
And that's all going to culminate with a season review or season preview show that we're going to do. So it's going to fall in line with exactly how the other sports work. But we're looking forward to it, and it's going to be a big topic on bets when bets comes off that hiatus. It'll be lots of football.
Real quick here, 29-16 the Bucks. This game likely is going to be in the bag unless the Suns really pick it up, but that's a tough one right there. Again, I want to thank everybody here. So for everybody at Offside and Abounds, thank you guys. I am Adam.
I'm Junior.
We're gonna see you real soon.